Well, let's continue. We talked about the mind center. The influencer is someone who has knowledge about the product or the purchasing. User is the group or people who are going to use the product. Gatekeeper is the person who collects information and then passes it to those making the decision. That usually involves everyone else. And finally, the financial decision maker. This is the personal group that says this investment is worth doing, and typically is the final step in the process. Types of buying situations. A new buy. This is where the product is being purchased for the first time, and those doing it need to do a lot of research. There is the straight rebuy, and this is where the company or the group has been buying it many times, simply pay, places an order. Then there is the modified rebuy. Something has happened. The supplier had a problem. Another salesperson points out why the buyer may consider a change. Something's happened, and some research is done before the buy is made. Different types of buying demand. Derived demand is where when you buy one thing, you really need to buy the other. So like the cell phone, when you buy a cell phone, getting a case for it is something that usually goes with it. Inelastic demand. This is where demand kind of stays the same. The example I like to use is refrigerators. Or within a company, the amount of paper being used, the quantity kind of stays constant. Then there is joint demand, where if you have to get one thing, you really need the other to make it useful. There again, the cell phone, if you want cell phone service, you need a cell phone. So they're kind of tied together. Value, benefits of the product, minus its cost. Suspect and prospect. A suspect is anyone in the general arena that you might be able to sell to. They become a qualified prospect when you know they have a need, they have an ability to pay, and you can get to the person who can make a decision. Getting leads. Well, cold calling, we'll talk more about that, but certainly getting on the phone and having a list and just dialing. It's the most brutal way to do it. Referrals. You have an existing customer and you ask them for referrals. Absolutely the most productive source and the one that leads to the most success. Because cold calling is relatively dead, an important thing to do is networking, both in person and on social media. Joining organizations and groups, and then networking within those groups to find prospects is a very successful way to sell. And then, of course, on social media, through LinkedIn mostly, but doing it right through Facebook and other social media. In all of this, the key is research. This is what gives you a success rate. A high success rate is knowing about your industry, the company you're dealing with, and the specific person. And when you're contacting people. You want to fail? Don't prepare. Ah, yes. Then we did some arithmetic where said, so if you your goal is $3 million, your average sale is 15,000. You need to make 200 average sales to make your goal. If your batting average is 32%, that is, you close 32% of your calls, and you need 200 sales, well, 0.32 into 200 says you need 625 calls. And if you're working 250 days, you need to make 625 calls in 250 days, or an average of 2.5 calls per day. CRMs, customer managing your data, managing your customer data. You use CRMs to store all the information about your prospects and customers. And a good CRM can give you lots of reports and analysis on how you're doing. Well, social media, great way to have conversations and to build relationships. We talked about those two video calls and the importance of planning, using business cards. Matter of fact, guys, for the showcase on October 6th, you need 5 business cards. Look at the assignment. You must meet at least 5 sponsors and present yourself to them. Hey, if you already know somebody, use a referral. So that was the difference between those two cold calls. Here's a whole bunch of things never to say. Want to be successful? You need knowledge about your product, your industry, and your prospect, both the person and the company. Paycom, white third-party payroll. You got to be insane for a small to medium-sized company to try to do their own payroll. It takes a lot of time. It's really easy to make mistakes and get big fines. Plus, if you're using third party, your employees have lots of great access directly to the information. And one of the big things is E-Verify. Paycom does it, many of the third party payrolls do it. Well, you use this to ensure they can work for you, that they don't have a criminal record, and that you can check their social security number. Paycom is all-inclusive, provides time and labor management, payroll, will help you acquire new talent, will manage that talent for you, including helping provide training. We had a couple of visitors, and this is important to remember about them. KPMG, been around 125 years, and they do financial consulting. And then ReliaQuest, security platform. The product name is Gray Matter, and they detect potential intrusions, investigate them, and can also help set up roadblocks of responses automatically. So there's your little review, 29 slides. there'll be 50 questions, multiple choice.